Hello and nice to have you join us on a comprehensive news package coming to you from the People's Tele OGTV. I am Bukola Agbakiso. On the news, federal government urges Nigerians to exercise restraint over its main crisis. Governors Miyetti Allah reach compromise on Ondo Governor's Forest Reserves eviction order. Federal government to pay 71 billion naira counterpart funding for 6 railway projects. US scientists say Moderna's vaccine appears to work against new variants of COVID-19. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding.
And coming up on the sports segment of the news, FIFA launches first ever digital platform dedicated to professional football. These and many more when I return later. My name, Hakeem Akitunde. You're welcome.
Thanks so much for joining us once again. Let's begin with the story from Abuja. Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has said that significant strides have been achieved in addressing security challenges across the country in recent times. The minister stated this at the press conference in Abuja, where he highlighted success achieved by the security agencies.
Though some of the troops paid the supreme price in the course of the operations, the security and intelligence agencies have consistently exhibited gallantry and resilience in the various operations across the country. We owe them a debt of gratitude.
Lai Mohammed, assisted by Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola, said the present administration is determined more than ever before in supporting security agencies towards ensuring that security of lives and property is guaranteed for all citizens.
Security agencies are set to sustain their onslaught against terrorists, bandits, and criminal elements in our country, and will not relent until peace has been restored to every troubled part of our dear nation.
The minister appealed to Nigerians to support security agencies and the government in achieving the commitment of making Nigeria safe and habitable for all. And still coming from Abuja, the federal government has urged Nigerians to exercise restraint following the brewing conflict in the northern regions of Oyo State, as well as the tension in Ondo State. This is contained in a statement signed by the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, and shared on his official Twitter handle. It was earlier reported that the Ondo State Governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, issued a 7-day ultimatum for herdsmen to vacate the forest reserves in the state. He gave the order as part of major steps taken at addressing the root cause of kidnapping and other nefarious activities in the state. In a statement he issued, the governor said the forests have been turned into a place for hoodlums to carry out their criminal activities. It was also reported that violence erupted in Ibarapa North local government area of Oyo State on Friday when residents stormed the home of the Seriki Fulani Saliu Abdulkadir to eject him and some other herdsmen accused of fueling security problems in the area. Meanwhile, the Nigeria's Governors Forum, NGF, has said that there was no eviction order to herdsmen in Ondo State or any part of the southwest region. It said the speech of Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu was misconstrued in the media and was only directed at government reserves, including registration. Chairman of NGF and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, spoke in Akure at a meeting with the national leadership of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. Dr. Fayemi noted that the statement generated a lot of hoopla, which led to what he described as unfortunate developments in Oyo State. He said Akeredolu did not talk about herdsmen vacating the state, but about registration of herdsmen who want to operate within the reserves. The Ekiti State Governor said they are after criminals and not Fulani herdsmen. In a related development, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association has directed herders to stop night and underage grazing in the southwest immediately. National President of MACBAN, Alhaji Muhammadu Kiroma, gave the order after a meeting with Southwest governors, security agencies and members of the Nigeria Governors Forum in Akure, capital of Ondo State. Kirowa stated the menace of banditry, cattle rustling and kidnapping emerged from poor management of farmer-elder conflicts, which he said gave rise to cattle rustling as well as kidnapping and banditry. A communique at the end of the meeting described insecurity as a national challenge and not peculiar to any tribe or region. The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, CP Akeem Odumosu, on Monday addressed the newly trained community policing special constables drawn from all the local government councils in the state on the ethics and standard operating procedure of the community policing project. A statement by CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, Police Public Relations Officer, Lagos State Command, noted that CP Akeem Odumosu emphasized on the approved duties to complement the police, including intelligence gathering, traffic control, joint patrol with the police, and any other duties that their DPOs might deem necessary to providing security for lives and property. The special constables are being deployed to the 110 divisional police headquarters across Lagos State with immediate effect. We want them to desist from any act that is illegal and detrimental to the image of the police and capable of jeopardizing the purpose for which community policing was established. CP Akeem Odumosu read out Riot Act to them on the do's and don'ts of the police. He reminded them that they are no longer raw civilians, but refined and trained individuals who are liable and responsible for their actions and inactions, as they will be treated according to the provisions of the Nigerian Police Act and regulations. The police boss admonished them to shun misuse of power, extortion, abuse of office, violation of human rights, and any inappropriate behaviors contrary to the provisions of the extant laws of the country. The Commissioner of Police, however, appealed to the general public to extend support to the special constables who are to assist in providing adequate security for all and sundry in the state. He also urged them to report any illegal and or inappropriate actions or the special constables to the command for necessary action. After the deployment, the Commissioner of Police still addressed the area commanders, DPOs and HODs in the state at the Power Hall, Oduduwa, Ikeja, in order to review and improve on the general security network of Lagos State. CP Akeem Odumosu briefed them on the deployment of the special constables and their duties in the various formations. He also charged them to supervise the men and work towards having better policing and their areas and the state at large. The police boss seized the opportunity to re-echo the command's zero tolerance for violation of COVID-19 protocols in the state. He then ordered due enforcement of all COVID-19 protocols and other laws in Lagos State. Some federal government-owned universities in Nigeria recently cancelled the 2019 and 2020 academic session, which was part of the resolutions reached at a meeting of the university's Senate after the call of strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, that lasted 9 months. Benga Dekoya in this report seeks opinions of Nigerians on these developments and its implications on the students.
The 2019-2020 academic calendar in Nigerian universities was altered in March 2020, no thanks to the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, that lasted for 9 months and the COVID-19 outbreak, but in an effort to allow students to cover up the lost grants, the Senate of some notable government universities in Nigeria cancelled the 2019-2020 academic session, and this development has continued to generate mixed reactions from Nigerians.
The cancellation of that academic session doesn't extend to private university. Peradventure, some of these students who have planned their lives that, okay, by so time I'm going to finish my University of Education, it's not going to come into reality now. If that was occasioned by the ASU strike that lasted for 10 to 11 months, I do not really think this is something that is good.
I don't think it is the best way to go. because considering the negative impact of COVID-19 and the ASU strike, I feel there should be an alternative way to that, and in other Senate climb we could go with the new normal, and we could also go virtual.
For Professor Oludayo Amokaye, Head of Department Private and Property Law, University of Lagos, it is the right step in the right direction as session could not be completed and almost all universities were unable to admit new students.
The question before the Senate or the university administrator is, now we are in 2020-2021 academic session, about to begin another one in October 2021-2022. How do we manage finishing the 2019-2020 with 2020-2021 that we have not even started at all? It is most practicable and most realistic for 2020 academic session to be cancelled, and then we proceed on a clean slate after finishing the 2019-2020 academic session.
The cancellation of the 2019-2020 academic session to some respondents will have both positive and negative impacts on the students. They opined that all tertiary institutions in Nigeria should embrace online teaching process, especially now that the country is facing COVID-19 pandemic. Benga Adekoya, OGTV News.
A new bill to increase the retirement age of teachers across Nigeria, which was approved by the Federal Executive Council, has generated mixed reactions from Nigerians. Respondents who spoke with OGTV News opined that it will slim job opportunities, while others argued that the years of experience would improve learning and education standard in the country. Shemilori Makonju has the details.
The Harmonized Retirement Age for Teachers in Nigeria Bill 2020, which seeks to give legal backing to new measures by the Muhammadu Buhari administration, is aimed at enhancing teaching in the country. The bill, which seeks to increase the retirement age of teachers from 60 to 65 years and also increase the possible years of service from 35 to 40 years, has continued to generate mixed reactions from Nigerians.
Teachers are happy, and as we cannot rule out the issue of experience in teaching profession, this will encourage our old teachers, the enabling environment, to assist and teach the younger ones the way to deal with our students, to deal with our pupils in their classes.
Others are of the opinion that the new development would affect level of productivity of teachers, learning of students, and unemployment rate in the country.
In terms of their entitlement, government should be sincere. They should pay their money as at when due. Not that 5 years, 10 years, some are even dead. So if they say 65, the Bible says we should live 70 years. It doesn't mean they are just giving them 5 years to rest after service. That is where I disagree. But if we talk in terms of those who are late in terms of getting appointments, they can spend 40 years in service.
Teaching is a profession. There is a need to inject new blood into the profession. These young brains has new innovation. They are very creative in accordance with other global best practices in the 21st century teaching profession.
They argued that rather than extend retirement age of teachers, government should channel the proceeds to the recruitment of more personnel into the teaching profession.
They should create avenues where teachers should improve themselves in terms of study leaves. When they go on study leave, some will take over. And this study leave must not be study leave without pay. It should be study leave with pay.
Let them pay all the entitlement of the serving teachers. Government should improve on the welfare package of teachers. Pay their leave allowances, pay them rural allowance, pay them their teachers' peculiar allowance. Then apart from this, pay the gratuity of the retirees. In many states of the country, some retirees have not collected their gratuity in the last 10 years. And we are saying we are extending the service year of those serving.
Apart from increasing the retirement age and years of service of teachers, the bill also seeks to introduce bursary award, special rural posting allowance, amongst others. Shemilori Makonju, OGTV News.
And still to come in the news, Nigeria Governors Forum says no eviction order to its men in Southwest. More news and reports after this break.
They waka waka inside this journey called life.
No one sees what this journey took from him.
But I'll keep on keeping on. Cause to them say nothing good they come in.
How far he pushed his mind and his body. How many times he broke down and needed support. But success lies on the other end of pain. See as everybody they hail am now, cheering every verse and chorus. As Naija mama where I be, my son no fit carry last. So when pain comes knocking, we look back at it without fear and say, not today.
For aches, pains, and fever, trust Emzor Paracetamol.
Glad to know that you're still there. The news continues. The Nigeria Climate Change Response Program is to guarantee climate action transparency and economic growth strategies for sustainable development. Special Advisor to the Ogun State Governor on Environment and Chief Executive Officer of the State Waste Management Authority, Mr. Ola Oresoya, stated this during a meeting with a team from the Federal Ministry of Environment on data collection on waste management baseline in the state. Our reporter Yusuf Ganil was part of the meeting held at Okimoson in Abeokuta. His report.
Climate change is now becoming a challenge, with its effects transcending national boundaries and socio-economic strata. This gathering of the Federal Minister of Environment, Abuja, in collaboration with the Ogun State Minister of Environment, is to find an appropriate response to the challenge, especially as it affects the country. Special Advisor to the Governor on Environment and Chief Executive Officer of the State Waste Management Authority, Mr. Ola Oresoya, said the state is ready to support the collection of data on waste management baseline to mitigate the impact of climate change.
So in our aspirations, we need to be able to get our mileage. We need to be able to calibrate our progress. So the data is very, very important to us, and not just for the national index, but for the State Development Index.
Mr. Oresoya also noted that the current administration in the state is doing everything possible, especially through provision of law, that will guide waste management in the state.
If you look at the waste hierarchy, waste elimination or reduction is number one. And I think that law enables industries to reduce their waste. We made it public when we said that industries can no more sell waste in the state. Sales of waste means there are no incentive for you to reduce waste generation. And I think we want the national government to support us in this drive, and we want every state in Nigeria to take a cue from them. Industries must not be encouraged to start selling waste.
The key expert on waste management from Abuja, Dr. Tayo Babatunde, had this to say on the essence of their visits.
Similarly, here we want to solve Nigeria problem in line with greenhouse gases. The major thing that we need to do, the major step is to carry out the baseline. What's the level of that greenhouse gas in the country presently? So before we know, whether we are in the right direction and which way we need to change.
Similarly, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Environment, Engineer Razak Ojetola, solicited support of the federal government through the Federal Minister of Environment on waste management to combat the challenges posed by the climate change. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on Monday announced the extension of Phase 3 of the East lockdown by 1 month. The chairman of PTF, Boss Mustafa, announced this at the weekly briefing of the task force in Abuja. Mustafa, who is also the secretary to the government of the Federation, said efforts to deploy vaccines was progressing. He said, as already announced by COVAX, the initial 100,000 doses Nigeria was expecting would arrive in the early weeks of February. The federal government has approved the employment of 30,000 graduates to be trained on soil samples and to render extension services to farmers. This is part of efforts to enhance food security. Executive Secretary of the National Land Development Agency, Paul Ikone, said the graduates would go through a 2-week intensive training. He said beneficiaries will get soil test kits and soil collection samples kits at the end of the training. Farmers requiring the services of those trained would pay as low as 500 naira per soil collected. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has pulled down a filling station which was under construction at the National Assembly Complex. Director, Department of Development Control in the FCT, Town Planner Mukhtar Galadima, who disclosed this on Monday shortly after the exercise, said the developer was initially allocated the land for construction of the filling station for commercial purpose, but that he decided to unilaterally commence building of a residential property adjacent to the earmarked for the station. He further explained that following a series of complaints from the Office of the National Security Advisor on security implications of building a filling station inside such a complex, the allocation was reviewed and revoked. The Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, has stated that his ministry was currently executing 43 road projects within tertiary institutions across the country with a view to enhancing the learning environment. Mrs. Boade Akinola, the Director of Press and Public Relations in the ministry, in a statement to newsmen, quoted the minister as saying this while handing over a 2-kilometer internal road project rehabilitated and reconstructed by his ministry at the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Benue State. Fashola said that the students were expressing renewed enthusiasm on attending classes because some defective road had been restored to good condition, adding that besides impacting on the condition of learning in the schools, the intervention projects had also created jobs for Nigerians. He also explained that the infrastructure gap in the country was steadily being bridged by a gradual process of repairs, renewal and reconstruction of major highways which had now reached the schools. Today marks 3 years since Ogun State Television, OGTV, moved over to GoTV and DSTV by switching to digital platforms. Nigerians have been commending the switch over, which has resulted in improved content, more viewership and advertisements. Matthew Shoumi completes the report.
Having served the educational, entertainment and information needs of the people over the years as the People's Tele, Ogun State Television joined the digital platform of the multi-choice on January 25, 2018 for wider reach, cleaner and clearer pictures and better performance. Since its emergence on GoTV and DSTV, Ogun State Television has witnessed major improvements in viewership, audience penetration and content, and this the people described as a landmark achievement in television broadcasting in the state.
Well, let me congratulate OGTV, for 3 years, on digital platform. Because if you look at it globally, the reception of digital is something else. Because if you run on terrestrial, go to home, just get to home anyhow, it doesn't appear very well.
Before the movement, OGTV was just playing around the Southwest. But moving to the digital platform anywhere, the anywhere in Nigeria, you can be assessed. So there is a plus that increase your viewership.
I think it is high time all of us needs to embrace ICT. ICT is going to drive the world. Then moving from analog to digital has always been the best thing that has ever happened to this state.
They encouraged the station to continue to give the best and maintain the standard the station is known for.
I've enjoyed OGTV more these days. I always love, to listen to their news, Democratic Park, Focus, Otonjo, because they focus on contemporary issues.
OGTV has moved from good to better since they've embraced this digital platform.
General Manager, Ogun State Television, Mr. Festus Kehinde, described the move to digital platforms as a good opportunity to serve the state better and reach out to more people.
Transmitting on the terrestrial platform did not give us the adequate coverage. But with our being moved on this super highway of DSTV, we now cover the entire Nigeria. You can receive OGTV throughout Nigeria, even outside Nigeria. And that to me is a delight.
The general manager said the station will continue to improve on the standard already laid.
Equipment already captured in this year budget that the governor has promised us, and it's the man who promised and fulfill it. I know that our signal will be better on DSTV. The content will be enriched and improved upon, and the personnel, because the personnel will also operate the equipment with the kind of training that we have started from January, and then we even line up more during the year.
It is indeed another milestone in the history of television broadcasting in the state. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa, has ordered the state commanders of the agency to mop up illicit drugs across the country. He also hinted that the agency would seek government approval to conduct drug tests on students of tertiary institutions, security personnel, and newly appointed government employees. Marwa stated this during a meeting with commanders of the 36 states, Federal Capital Territory, and special commanders at the agency's headquarters in Abuja. While tasking the commanders to rid the street of illicit drugs, the NDLEA boss also admonished them to shape up and get all those engaged in the nefarious business to face the music. The trial of the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, otherwise known as Shiites, Sheikh Ibrahim Zaki, and wife began at Kaduna State High Court on Monday. At the resumed hearing, the leader of Shiites and his wife were absent, but the court ordered that the authorities, to, as a matter of urgency, treat the wife of the embattled leader of the IMN for COVID-19. Members of the IMN had last week renewed calls for the release of El Zaki and his wife, claiming that El Zaki's wife had tested positive for COVID-19 inside the Kaduna Correctional Facility, where they have been detained since 2015. The presiding judge, Justice Gideon Kurada, gave the order during the secret trial of the Shiite leader and his wife. The United States Ambassador Mary Beth Leonard on Monday launched Air Quality Monitor to link Nigeria to air quality index information and health messaging from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. A statement from the U.S. Consulate General noted that the monitor would supply data to the Sapphire app. Leonard expressed optimism that the new equipment will enhance the consulate's capacity to provide reliable data on air quality. She also highlighted the United States commitment to environmental sustainability. The statement explained that the U.S. Department of State's 65-plus air quality monitors, which are housed at U.S. embassies and consulates across the world, are made in the United States to Environmental Protection Administration specifications as delineated by the Clean Air Act. The air component of Operation Thunder Strike has neutralized several armed bandits at Chuale Forest in Chukum local government area of Kaduna State. The operation was sequel to credible intelligence reports indicating the significant presence of armed bandits in the area, which is about 20 kilometers west of the Kaduna-Abuja highway. In a statement by the coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Defense Headquarters, Major General John Eneche, has said that after a series of confirmatory area surveillance missions, the air component dispatched an appreciable force package of Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships to attack the location. With the overhead target area, the NAV intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft spotted scores of bandits mounted on motorcycles and dressed in black attire heading towards Niger State. The attack aircraft therefore took turns in engaging the bandits, who were seen firing at the attack helicopter as it swerved them. Several armed bandits were accordingly neutralized in the airstrikes, while some escaped with various degrees of injuries. Meanwhile, area surveillance missions have been intensified in coordination with ground troops to locate the fleeing bandits. The armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies have therefore pledged to sustain the onslaught in a bid to restore peace in Nigeria. From Katsina State, the state police commander snapped Lawan Ziyana of Muduru village of Mani local government area of the state in possession of 2 general-purpose machine guns and 179 anti-aircraft ammunition in his possession. According to the command, the suspect is a notorious armed bandit, supplying arms and ammunition to bandits in both Nigeria and Niger Republic. Parading the suspect alongside other suspected criminals, the State Commissioner of Police, CP Shanusi Buba, said the command acted based on credible intelligence information, which led to the arrest of all the suspects. The CP added Aruna Yusuf had confessed to be the gang leader of the bandits, as he usually received the supply of arms and ammunition for Niger Republic and hands over to Lawan Ziyana, Aruno Adamu and Awa Abubakar, who will in turn take the supply to bandits in the forest. On business segment of the news, Senate queries embeds 50 billion naira escrow account. These are some business news shortly. Thanks for joining us on the business news segment of the news. The Senate on Monday commenced a 2-day public hearing on the Petroleum Industry Bill. The PIB has lingered in the National Assembly for nearly 20 years, with previous assemblies failing to pass the critical legislation. The Senate President Ahmed Lawan assured that the PIB will be passed in the first quarter of this year. While assuring of a quick passage of the PIB, Senator Lawan warned that all stakeholders must play the roles to make it a reality. He said the lack of passage of the PIB is linked to inadequate consultation of necessary stakeholders. He added that the country deserves legislation that will stand the test of time. The Nigerian banking industry has recorded a mixed performance in customer service in the first half of 2020, with a number of complaints over service failure and infractions rising, while amounts involved decreased significantly. Meanwhile, the volume of banks' consumer loans to customers has sustained a downward trend for the 5th consecutive month in October. Personal loans to customers went down by 22 billion naira during the period. Further industry information also shows that 5 banks failed the corporate governance test, while about 20% of all the banks failed to comply with the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Code of Corporate Governance for Banks and the guidelines for whistleblowing. The banks, however, refunded 2.67 billion naira to customers in H1 2020, indicating 63% decline when compared to 7.2 billion naira refunded to customers in H1 19. The Senate Public Accounts Committee has asked the Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading PLC to explain how it managed the 50 billion naira in its escrow account. The chairman of the committee, Senator Matthew Rogide, issued a directive based on the 2015 audit report submitted to it by the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. The AGF report faulted the management of public funds in the NBET escrow account. The AGF report noted that the 50 billion naira in the escrow account was the proceeds from the sale of the Egbin Omotosho and Olorunsogo power plants. NBET in its written response said it was never stated that the fund would be invested in the Treasury bill. The Senate panel chairman, while ruling on the AGF query and the response of the NBET, asked the management of the agency to produce all necessary documents regarding the transactions. The federal government is to partly fund 6 rail projects connecting virtually all regions of the country with a counterpart funding of 71.15 billion naira this year. Also, 15.1 billion naira will be spent on the development of safety and security critical projects, airport certification, runway construction, terminal building, among others in the aviation sector in 2021. The government stated that the 71.15 billion naira would serve as counterpart funding for railway projects, including the ongoing Lagos-Kano rail line, the ongoing Calabar-Lagos and Ajaokuta-Itakpe-Alaja, which was also described as an ongoing project. Others are the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri Railway, the new Kano-Katsina-Jibiya-Maradi line in Niger Republic, and the Abuja-Itakpe and Alaja Warri Port and Refinery and Warri New Harbour. That was the business segment of the news. Up next is foreign news with Opeyemi Adeomi. Stay tuned. On the world today, Moderna's COVID vaccine appears to work against new, more infectious variants of the pandemic virus found in the UK and South Africa, scientists say. Also, Russia has accused Western countries of encouraging rallies in support of opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Opeyemi Adeomi has the details.
Moderna's COVID vaccine appeared to work against new, more infectious variants of the pandemic virus found in the UK and South Africa, say scientists from the US pharmaceutical company. Early laboratory tests suggest antibodies triggered by the vaccine can recognize and fight the new variants. More studies are needed to confirm this is true. For people that have been vaccinated, the new variants have been spreading fast in a number of nations. They have undergone changes or mutations. That means that they can infect human cells more easily than the original version of coronavirus that started the pandemic. Expert thinks the UK strain, which emerged in September, may be up to 70% more transmissible. For the Moderna study, researchers looked at blood samples taken from 8 people who had received the recommended 2 doses of the Moderna vaccine. The findings are yet to be reviewed, but suggest immunity from the vaccine recognizes the new variants. Russia has accused Western countries of encouraging rallies in support of opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Tens of thousands defied a heavy police presence to join the rallies on Saturday. More than 3,500 were detained. On Monday, President Vladimir Putin said the protests were illegal and dangerous. European Union foreign ministers met on Monday to discuss their response with calls for increased sanctions. The foreign minister of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania are demanding restrictive measures against Russian officials responsible for arrest. Poland's president also urged the EU to step up sanctions on Russia following the arrest of Mr. Navalny. Mr. Navalny's President Putin's most high-profile critic called for protest after he was arrested on his return to Russia a week ago. Demonstrations were held on Saturday in about 100 cities and towns from Russia, Far East and Siberia to Moscow and St. Petersburg. The Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte has condemned weekend's riots against newly imposed coronavirus restrictions as criminal violence. Rioters attacked police and set cars and bikes on fire to protest against a curfew introduced on Saturday. In the southern city of Eindhoven, protesters threw fireworks, looted supermarkets and smashed shop windows. There were smaller protests in Amsterdam and in some cities in town around the country. More than 200 people have been detained, police said. This has nothing to do with protest. This is criminal violence and we will treat it as such, Mr. Rutte told media on Monday. The Dutch government has just introduced its toughest measures since the start of the pandemic, including a nighttime curfew which runs from 20 GMT to 4:30. It is the first in the Netherlands since World War II. Anyone caught violating it faces a fine of €95. 9 Chinese miners have been found dead a day after 11 of their colleagues were rescued after 2 weeks trapped in a gold mine in Shadok province. The mayor of Yantai city was quoted as confirming the deaths. 1 miner remains unaccounted for. The miners became trapped in the Ushan mine when the entrance to the tunnel collapsed after a blast on 10 January. There was joy on Sunday after the 11 were brought to the surface. From Sunday afternoon to Monday afternoon, rescue workers have not stopped searching and found a further 9 trapped miners who unfortunately all died. Yatai Mayor Chen Fei told a briefing on Monday. Along with 1 miner who died on Thursday, the bodies of the 9 deceased miners were all lifted out of the mine. And that's it on The World Today.
Thanks so much, Okpeyemi. Akim Aketunde is ready to serve you latest sports news.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news. Serving off from the world of tennis, the WTA has created a tournament exclusively for the players unable to leave their rooms during quarantine for the Australian Open. The 28th player draw list starts on 3rd February, allowing players 4 days of practice before the main tournament. Victoria Azarenka, Bianca Andreescu, Angelique Kerber, and Britain's Heather Watson are among those eligible. The ATP event scheduled for the week before the Australian Open will be pushed back by 24 hours. 72 players are currently confined to their rooms after positive cases on the chartered planes that brought them to Australia. And to football now, FIFA on Monday launched the FIFA Professional Football Landscape, the first ever digital database comprising key facts and figures on players, clubs, transfers, and top-tier competitions across all 2011 member associations, bringing together data from a broad spectrum of key performance indicators that reflect the status of clubs and leagues worldwide. The new tool offers a detailed visual overview of the game. Over the coming weeks, all member associations will be given access to the platform. And Chelsea have sacked head coach Frank Lampard after 18 months in charge. Former Chelsea midfielder Lampard, 42, lives with the club 9th in the Premier League table after last week's defeat at Leicester City, having won once in their past 5 league matches. His final game in charge was Sunday's 3-1 FA Cup 4th round win against Championship side Luton. Lampard was appointed on a 3-year contract when he replaced Maurizio Sarri at the Stamford Bridge in July 2019. Owner Roman Abramovich said Lampard's status as an important icon of the club remains undiminished despite his dismissal. Tanzania champions Simba XC have announced the capture of Nigerian forward Junior Lokosa on a short-term deal. Lokosa last featured for Tunisian giants Esperance. The striker was released by the former African champions on July 30, 2020. The 27-year-old was top scorer in the Nigerian Professional Football League with 17 goals in the 2018-2019 season, and the former First Banks of Lagos player is expected to play a big part in Simba's quest for a first CAF Champions League title. Back home, players and technical officials of Gateway United FC have undergone COVID-19 tests as part of the requirements for the commencement of the 2020-2021 National League campaign. The test was carried out on Monday, 25th January 2021 at the club's secretariat MKO Abiola Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta, ahead of the first match, which has now been moved to Friday, 29th January 2021 in Lagos. The results are expected Tuesday, 26th January 2021. And speaking on the exercise, the acting general manager, Ani Ishuleye, described it as a pivotal test for the smooth running of the fast-approaching league. Joy Comet will host Gateway United on March Day 1 at the Agege Township Stadium, Lagos, on Friday, 29th January 2021. And to the NPFL now, Nasarawa United have produced arguably the major talking point of Match Day 6 in the Nigerian Professional Football League after beating Warri Wolves 2-1 to secure their unbeaten record. The results? It's the second away win for coach Bala Nkiyo's team and shoots them to the top of the league table. In EU, Sunshine Stars of Akure recorded their first away win of the season with a 2-1 victory over Dakada Football Club. After a disappointing 3-1 loss to Rivers United on Match Day 5, Heartland picked themselves back up with a 2-1 win over Aqua United in Owerri. In Ilorin, Aqua United continued their fine form at home with a 1-0 win over FC Ifeanyi, while Rangers and Lobby Stars played a goalless draw to share spoils in Enugu as Abia Warriors extended their winless run with a goalless result against MFM Football Club of Lagos. Eyimba on Monday won away to Adamawa United by 2-1, while Wiki Tourists got the better of Jigawa Golden Stars by 2-0 in Bauchi. Four Palmas players and the club president were killed in a runway crash as their plane headed off for a Brazilian Cup game. The pilot of the small plane was also reported to have died, as fourth-tier team Palmas said there were no survivors. The club named president Lucas Mera plus players Lucas Prazedes, Golherme No, and Ranule and Marcos Molinari as among the 6 victims. The pilot, named only as Wagner, was also killed. And lastly, from the world of Formula One, Mercedes Formula One boss Toto Wolff has revealed he contracted coronavirus earlier this month. The 49-year-old said he has now recovered after submitting a positive test while on a break in Austria. Wolff added he was still in the process of negotiating a new contract with 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton to race on with Mercedes this year, and was confident it will be concluded before the start of pre-season testing in Bahrain in March. We'll also be here, we are confident about that, God willing, and we'll serve you fresh news from the world of sports. My name is Akim Akitude. Thanks for watching. Back to Bukola.
That was Sports Update from Akim Akitunde. We now start with the forecast for Tuesday. Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. And don't forget that you can watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch live on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. A quick look at the top stories of the news once again. The federal government has urged Nigerians to exercise restraint over its main crisis. Governors Miyetti Allah have reached compromise on Ondo Governor's Forest Reserve's eviction order. The federal government is to pay 71 billion naira counterpart funding for 6 railway projects. US scientists have said that Moderna's vaccine appears to work against new variants of COVID-19. And on sports, you heard that FIFA has launched first ever digital platform dedicated to professional football. And that was a comprehensive news package. Thanks so much for being part of the news. For me, it's bye for now.
Life is a precious gift from God. Cherish and protect it. Don't lose it to reckless driving. The Ogun State government is undertaking massive road construction exercises across the state, and notably among them are Shagamu Interchange to Abeokuta, Ijebu-Ode to Ekpe, and many other sites across the length and breadth of the state. Don't be in a hurry to navigate the narrow spaces that are provided for motorists as a result of road diversion. And when you overtake, ensure that your life and the lives of many other road users are not put in danger. Adhere strictly to all strategically positioned road warning signs meant to safeguard your life, because if you don't, you will be apprehended by law enforcement agents who are on the roads and be made to face the penalty. Government is mindful of the inconveniences associated with road construction on motorists, but with your support, it will soon be a thing of the past. Once again, construction works are ongoing on Shagamu Interchange to Abeokuta, Ijebu-Ode to Ekpe, and other sites in the state. Drive safely. Think safety.
This is the Wilson family this week. What's changed?
What?
The Wilson family got maximum entertainment for less, and now they're closer than ever. Your family can be too.
How does this work?
With world-class international channels that put the quality back in your quality time.
That's what I'm talking about.
GoTV Max will bring you and your family closer in no time. So upgrade to GoTV Max for only 2,999 Naira today. Make them enjoy. GoTV. Love it.
I run. Hey. Hey.
In this time of the coronavirus pandemic, your actions may put other lives in danger, including those you love. Protect your colleagues, friends, family, and loved ones by observing all the safety measures.
Doctor, she's not breathing properly. Okay, we'll bring her immediately.
Wash your hands regularly with soap. Practice physical distancing and always wear a face mask when going out. The future of your family, community, and country is in your hands. Play your part.
Wow. Please, you guys need to come and see this thing. So there's this guy in my area called Lord Spark. You don't see him during the day, but at night, he's very active. I went to the police, man, I was scared though.